presented by Arby's. We have the meats. Hello, everyone. Happy Sunday. Welcome inside the Fox Sports Detroit studios. Lindsay Hayes alongside Darren Elliott, and the Red Wings are getting ready for puck drop out in Buffalo. Game 1 of 3 on their road trip. So, Darren, obviously the Wings coming off of 2 solid wins. The Sabres, on the other hand, have struggled against the Red Wings, also haven't been well the last couple seasons. So what can we expect tonight?
We expect a win, right? That's exactly what we expect. Doesn't always go that way. Buffalo coming off a dismal performance last night at the hands of the Pittsburgh Penguins, losing 5-0. They have pride. Their penalty kill is not bad. It doesn't always go the way you think it will, but it's one of those games, as Mike Babcock has talked about, you have to take advantage of the schedule. You have to take advantage of the opponent. They have to do that here this evening. And
there's more good news for the Red Wings. Johan Franzen will be back in the lineup tonight. Now, he had been out since October 17th with a lower body injury. Prior to that, though, 2 goals, 5 points in 4 games. What is going to be the biggest thing that he can provide tonight?
Well, again, I think for Mike Babcock and the rest of the Red Wings, they get to see their team fully healthy up front. And that means balance. Your second line, Johan Franzen, as you mentioned, Lindsay, had a big game. Unfortunately, this was a game he got hurt in. He was throwing his weight around. He came into camp in great shape. Was real physical, moving his feet. And in that last game that he got injured in, he scored twice. And we're going to show you this ends up being the last play before his injury. But playing with Darren Helm and Gus Nyquist here this evening against the Buffalo Sabres, it gives them a balanced attack, and I'm looking forward to see how that all goes together. I'm sure Mike Babcock is too.
Yeah, healthy offense. We like to hear that, that's for sure. And with Mule returning to the lineup, there is also going to be some rearranging with the Red Wings lines. Franzen's going to be on the line, like Darren said, with Gus Nyquist and also Darren Helm. And so let's now head out to Buffalo, where Helm stopped by for a pregame chat with our John Keating.
All right, Lindsay, thanks. The Sabres have really been struggling. How wary of you of this being one of those trap games?
Well, you never want to come into a game thinking it's going to be easy. There's a lot of good players on this team that can score, so we got to be on our best.
They played last night. I would guess pace of game, particularly early, is going to be very important for your team.
Yeah, we're going to need to come out with a strong first period. We've been kind of sitting around all day, no pregame skate this morning. So we're going to have to find a way to get out to an early jump.
You'll start on a line with a returning Johan Franzen and Gus Nyquist. I'm going to guess you're not going to see the puck all that much tonight.
Well, I hope I can give those guys a chance to get shooting. They're good, talented goal scorers. I just want to do some of the dirty work and get them the puck.
Elmer, thanks.
Thank you.
Darren Helm has a 4-game goal streak against these Buffalo Sabres. Lindsay?
Thank you, John. And that second line of Nyquist, Helm, and Franzen is going to probably see a good amount of time, at least on the power play as of this evening. The Red Wings started the season lacking that firepower with the man advantage. They went only 2 for 30 on the power play over their first 8 games. However, now the Wings have 3 power play goals on 9 opportunities in their past 2 games. Quite the turnaround. And head coach Mike Babcock really knows how important that is.
It's real simple. If you win the faceoff, you're in their zone. If you execute the first time on the power play breakout, you're in their zone. If you don't, and they pressure you and keep you on the walls and you never attack their net, their penalty kill looks large. And what I mean by that, they can pressure out all over. As soon as you start attacking the net, their penalty kill gets small. Like, all you got to do is, and I mean, that means they're tight together and you have lots of opportunity. Your best plays and those great tic-tac-toe plays that happen are after you've taken 3 shots and they're worn out. Well, if you never wear out the penalty killers, that's not going to happen. So let's attack the net, but let's work hard enough and trust one another enough that we're going to get the puck back.
And it is definitely good to see that the Wings are showing a new sign of life with that extra man. Emphasis, though, really started to improve the power play last season, so it's good to finally see that starting to get into line. And so for our Miller Lite breakdown, Darren, what has impressed you, especially the last 2 games, from what you've seen improvements-wise on the power play?
Well, those are the first 2 games they scored back-to-back games, power play goals in both. They moved the puck a lot better. You heard the coach talking about shrinking the penalty kill. You have to do that by having good zone entries, get it set up, and look at how quickly they move the puck. Not a lot of standing around, moving the puck around the perimeter. Move it quick, make a play, and look to shoot from good spots, and they retrieve the puck. In that instance, they retrieve it right to the back of the net. Doesn't get much better than that. The other thing that I think they've done they changed. They're attacking a lot from the left wing half wall instead of the right wing half wall. You can see Zetterberg on the right side. Usually it's Datsuk hovering over on the right side, kind of as the wild card. Everything else coming from the left side. On that first power play unit because Nicholas Cronwall can step into it as a left-handed shot coming off the left wing boards. That's been a big difference. And you start to see that there's not a lot of extra movement. Move the puck, move your feet, attack, get the puck to the net, and they scored some goals.
Yeah, Babcock said he really loved how their puck speed was on their second power play goal on Friday night, and then traffic in front of the net for sure. Well, the Red Wings also #1 in the penalty kill right now in the league. So how dangerous can these guys be if all of their special teams are really clicking at the same time?
Well, we'll go to the numbers. I mean, they've been great on the penalty kill all season long. But last year, there were only 4 teams that were in the top 10 in both power play and penalty kill percentage. Pittsburgh Penguins, Philadelphia Flyers, Boston Bruins, and St. Louis Blues. All playoff teams, all thought to be really good, strong hockey clubs. That's the difference it can make if you're very, very efficient on both the power play and the penalty kill.
And of course, the expectation is to be back in the playoffs again this year. Well, also a reminder that if a Detroit player scores a hat trick tonight, bring a copy of the scoring summary to Arby's tomorrow, and you can get a free small order of curly fries. You can find, of course, the scoring summary in your newspaper or also on the Red Wings page at foxsportsdetroit.com. Coming up next, the Buffalo Sabres are no strangers to losing seasons and also team struggles. But how do they plan to buck that trend this season? We'll have more on their adjustments and approach coming up next on Red Wings Live. In recent years, the Red Wings have dominated the Buffalo Sabres. You have to go all the way back to October 2009 to find the last time that Buffalo beat the Wings. Since that season, the Wings are now 8-1-0 against the Sabres. They've also outscored them by 11 goals during that time. Pavel Datsuk with 9 points in his last 8 against them. And let's face it, when you look at both of these rosters, the Wings easily have the advantage when it comes to overall talent. But another big contributor right now is the last couple of years, the Sabres have just been downright beating themselves a lot of the time. They consistently are struggling, and they're hoping and praying that a recipe for success sometime lands in their lap. Right now, though, the outlook still isn't good. And with more on that, here is John Keating. Hi, John.
Hi, Lindsay. Well, you're the Buffalo Sabres. The good news is you get the chance to play again right away. The bad news is you get the chance to have to play again right away. They were fairly dreadful in a loss to the Penguins in Pittsburgh last night, and that's the thing. They haven't been able to escape fairly dreadful for quite some time. Free agent signings haven't really worked out for them, and the danger is avoiding being caught up in this tailspin of losses.
It's very frustrating. I mean, it's a simple fact that we have to work. If we don't work, we're in trouble. And you could just keep repeating it, and keep going to the drawing board, and hopefully one day it'll click in. And like I said, the frustration level. But obviously, we have to make sure as coaching staff, we have to stay as positive as we can. We can't keep hammering the negatives all the time. But our play is speaking loud enough for us right now. So we have to somehow get out of this funk and try to put a 60-minute effort in.
To that point, how tricky is this stretch of the season to make sure that you get out of this tailspin before too much more time has passed?
Yeah, I mean that's you know, when teams go in funks like we are, somebody has a magic formula how to get out of it. They bottle up and sell it. But I think the magic formula is just work your way out of it and quit feeling sorry for yourself. The more you feel sorry for yourself, the more teams are going to take advantage of you and make it more miserable. So it's kind of like just one shift at a time, and that's so true now.
Ted Nolan, who played for the Red Wings for 60 games over the course of 2 seasons back in the early 80s. His son Jordan now plays for the LA Kings, and he learned today that he's been suspended by the league for a couple of games for that hit from behind on Darren Helm on Friday night. And Lindsay, you mentioned the last time the Sabres beat the Red Wings back in 2009. A goalie for a good part of that was one Christopher John Osgood. Well, he's back in Buffalo, but out of the line of fire. He'll be alongside Ken Daniels for the Wings and the Sabres coming up.
Thank you, John. We'll check in with you in just a little bit. Well, one of the positive things for the Sabres is that just a few years ago, they were bought by Terry Pegula, who also owns the Buffalo Bills. And he's not only investing in these teams, but he also has been investing in the city as well. So, Darren, does he almost resemble a younger Mike Ilitch?
Yeah, when you think of what the Ilitch family has meant to Detroit, I think right now the Pegula family, and they're very family-oriented in their businesses, everything they do, very similar to the Ilitches. I think you have to be able to draw those comparisons very favorably for Pegula and for Mr. Ilitch. Teams owned locally, Sabres, and just bought the Bills for cash, $1.4 billion cash. Wrap your brain around that a little bit. The Red Wings and the Tigers, of course, for Mr. Ilitch. Harbor Center was just opened, two-sheet facility that attaches to the Niagara Center where the Sabres play. Detroit District, where the new building is going to be, downtown Detroit. And the family business, fracking, it's that natural gas drilling process using hydraulics. Franchising, pizza pie, delivery process and quality process. That's what Mr. Ilitch has brought. That's how they've made their money, and other means as well.
Can you imagine just having $1 billion lying around in cash, right? Must be nice. Well, and while a losing season would be a very big disappointment for the Sabres, there is a little bit of silver lining, and that is that the anticipated #1 draft pick is a young kid by the name of Connor McDavid. Scouts are saying this guy could be the next Sidney Crosby. Buffalo fans already taking interest. So do you think he could almost be similar to a guy by the name of Steve Yzerman?
Well, we're going back to it, that same kind of comparison when Mr. Ilitch bought the team. They needed someone to build around, and that man was Steve Yzerman. Jimmy Devellano made sure they had a linchpin player down the middle to really build the franchise around. That was Steve Yzerman. The next generational player is Connor McDavid, who plays for the Erie Otters. That's only 90 minutes away from Buffalo. Erie just played a game in the OHL in Buffalo. 11,000 fans showed up to watch an OHL game. Look at those gaudy numbers. That's not a misprint. 14 goals, 42 points, plus 30, and he's projected to be the first overall. They were going to have the first overall pick last year as well, because they had the worst record in the NHL, and they took Sam Reinhart. They were bumped down by Florida. If that happens again, the Jack Eichel would be the consolation prize. Great American prospect. That would work as well. But right now in Buffalo, they're in love with the idea of Connor McDavid being their linchpin to rebuilding the franchise.
Yeah, he looks like quite the talent, that's for sure. Well, up next for the Red Wings, Kyle Quincy remains out of the lineup today. So we're going to take a closer look at Detroit's Blue Liners. What has been most impressive from them recently? Darren's going to have that answer when we return. Brendan Lashoff is currently warming up out in Buffalo. He's making his season debut today, and he's going to be taking the place of injured Kyle Quincy, who is still listed as day-to-day with an ankle injury. Lashoff will be paired with Jakob Kindl. Now, when we're talking about the Red Wings defense, they always say they don't want the spotlight. They just want to come in, do their job, and go home. They're the no flash, no frill, that's for sure. One of those, Brendan Smith, he's the one who I always hear say that. So he has been playing so consistently lately. What has impressed you most about him?
His move up in terms of his development has been fantastic, because he's a very good skater. He was doing a lot of things as he got used to the league, putting himself out of position with his feet. Look at these one-on-one battles. Look at him using his feet to defend. And he's selling out. He's always been a really good competitive player. Now, look at how strong he is there, keeping his feet moving. And the other thing, blocking shots. His ability to make complete passes has been much better. What he does with the puck once he makes a play, much better this year.
And also Danny DeKeyser looking so much more mature on the ice this year, I feel. Expectations obviously coming into the season were a lot higher for him. But do you feel like so far he has stepped up and met all of those expectations?
Well, he's a minute muncher. He just goes out there and he is a no-frills kind of guy. To me, Danny DeKeyser might be their best one-on-one defender, even better than Nicholas Kronwall. I'm just saying that. I know I just said it. Don't get mad at me. Long reach, long stick, real good contain, moves his feet well, and he is a no-frills kind of guy. He's been fantastic. The two of those guys, Brendan Smith and Danny DeKeyser, their maturation this season has allowed the Red Wings to get off the kind of start that they have, and they've been so good defensively.
And the guys say if their name isn't mentioned, that's a good day, because when it is, that means bad, that's for sure. Well, stay tuned also to Red Wings Live following this game. That's where we're going to select the Fox Sports Detroit Red Wings Player of the Game. It's presented by the McDonald's new Fresh Baked Knit Cafe Blueberry Muffin. And coming up next, November is here. It's hard to believe. The Wings, how did they stack up? What does General Manager Ken Holland think of how they played in October? He will weigh in next, right here on Red Wings Live. Live is brought to you by your local Toyota dealers. Visit buyatoyota.com. Toyota, let's go places. Well, can you believe it? It is already November. I even have already seen Christmas decorations for sale in the stores. It's just too soon. But that also means that the Red Wings are no longer just getting rolling. It is time to buckle down because the season is in full swing. And for an October progress report and also a list of November expectations, let's now check in again with John Keating. Hi, John.
Well, Lindsay, it said lots in sports. It's not how you start, it's how you finish, blah, blah, blah. But the Wings starts often dictate their finishes. Points pocketed early in the season come in awful handy when there's all that elbowing to get into the playoffs in the spring. Detroit went 6-2-2 in October. That's the 4th best mark that month in the league. And there is some relief attached to that.
What's your setup?
From a team standpoint, I think that in the early going, we've shown that we can defend good. Our goals against is down. Obviously, our penalty killing has been a big story. I think there's a lot of good signs, but I also think that as we go along here, we'd like to score a little more. Certainly, the power play has been a topic of conversation. I think we've had some good looks recently, and if you get enough good looks, sooner or later, the puck's going to go in the net. So. I think we've got to be positive. Feeling pretty good about real tough conference. It feels like every night it's a playoff game. We've been pretty good on the road. We're 2-1-1 on the road. So I mean, it's still early, but we're in the thick of things, and that's where you want to try to stay here over the next 6 months.
Well, the Wings have been helped by their schedule. There's no getting around that. Tonight's game here in Buffalo is the 3rd time this season Detroit will have played a team that had played somewhere else the night before. And the Wings will find themselves in that very circumstance at the end of the trip as they will play in Ottawa on Tuesday night and against the Rangers in New York on Wednesday night. Lindsay?
Thank you, John. It definitely played to their advantage against the Kings. We'll hope that it does the same tonight. Well, we also have more good news about the Detroit Arena District. 3,500 Detroit residents attended a Career Opportunity Expo on Tuesday. They received information about construction-related job opportunities that will come when they build the new arena. Attendees also got to meet and talk with potential employers, including Chris Illich. And the project is expected to offer more than 8,000 construction jobs and also more than 1,000 permanent jobs. Coming up next on Red Wings Live, Gus Nyquist continues to impress Mike Babcock. He had 2 goals and an assist on Friday and is looking for another multi-point game tonight. More on his power play magic when we return. Red Wings Live is brought to you by ZotAuto.com, home of Chrysler, Jeep, Dodge, Ram, Ford, Toyota, and Scion. And also by Flagstar Bank, a proud and official partner of the Detroit Red Wings. Welcome back to Red Wings Live. Every team wants their players to have a magnet to try to get in front of that net, and the Red Wings definitely have 2 magnets in both Gus Nyquist and Pavel Datsyuk. So, Darren, let's first talk a little bit about Gus Nyquist. He has just been red hot. Kind of almost seems like it carried over to much of what he was like last year. But what do you see as the biggest improvement from him this year?
He's calm. And the thing is about him, when he does get to the net, he doesn't need a lot of chances to score. And this is why. Watch how he focuses on the puck and gets to that little bit, just slides to get to some open ice, and he's ready to release it right away. He has 7 goals on 22 shots. That shooting percentage, he'll set records if it stays that. Probably won't stay there. But watch him again face the puck the entire time to get a real good look at it right here. Faces the puck. Right there, Spinorama faces the puck, it comes right to him. So yes, there's a magnet and part to it. But again, it's the creativity, the awareness, and it seems like the game has slowed down for him, and that's just a sign of experience.
And also Pavel Datsyuk, a point in each of his games since being back. He's been able to bounce back pretty quickly, that's for sure.
I have never seen a combination of artistry with the puck and thievery without it than Pavel Datsyuk.
Yes, and Brendan Smith always says, he just leaves me in awe. Let's hope the Red Wings leave us in awe tonight as well. Enjoy the game. Ken and Mick are in next with The Call.